Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Wednesday, March the 5th, 2014. Israel's Navy successfully intercepted an Iranian ship smuggling rockets bound for Gaza. The Navy's elite unit Shayetet 13 commandos raided the ship in a special operation early this morning Israel time in open waters on the maritime border of Sudan and Eritrea, about 1,500 kilometers south of Israel. The mission that was under the direct supervision of IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant Benny Gantz had no injuries reported, and the ship was now being towed by the Navy to the southern coastal city of Eilat. The Class C Iranian vessel was sailing under the flag of Panama. It was carrying advanced long-range rockets, which the IDF believes originated in Syria and were flown to Iran, who then loaded them onto a vessel and shipped them to Iraq, where they were hidden in boxes of cement and then sent on their way towards Port Sudan near the Sudanese-Eritrean border. Had the vessel not been intercepted by Israel, the weapons would have most likely been unloaded in Egypt and then smuggled into Gaza through hidden tunnels. The IDF spokesman's unit said of the successful operation, this prevented the arrival of a shipment of deadly and advanced weapons which was aimed at harming Israeli civilians and intended to reach the terrorist organizations of the Gaza Strip who are waging confrontation against Israel, adding that the IDF would continue to, quote, act against the regional arms race that is being led by Iran with a view to igniting the area, and that it would do everything possible to ensure the security of Israeli civilians. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded to the Navy raid on the smuggled weapons ship today, saying this shows the true face of Iran.
Israel captured a ship on the high seas stocked with weapons destined for terrorist groups. These weapons were going to be used against Israel. The entire operation, this clandestine operation, was organized by Iran. While Iran is conducting these talks, smiling to the international community, it continues to arm terrorist groups, it continues to perpetrate terrorism around the world. Such an outlaw regime must not be allowed to have the means to make atomic bombs.
Netanyahu made the comments while on the West Coast today, where he's meeting with several high-tech leaders in Silicon Valley. Israel's foreign ministry said they would file a complaint against Iran with the United Nations Security Council. Also early this morning, the IDF successfully thwarted another attack, this one on Israel's northern border in the Golan Heights with Syria. The IDF fired tank shells at a terror cell after spotting them trying to plant an explosive device along Israel's border fence with Syria. An IDF spokeswoman said Israeli intelligence said the terror cell was comprised of members of Hezbollah. There was no initial report on the condition of the terrorists. No IDF soldiers were hurt in the incident. And late last night, the IDF found and apprehended a member of Hamas that has been wanted by the IDF for terrorist acts since 1998. In a joint operation between the elite Duvdevan unit and the Shin Bet, Israel's security agency, Ayub al-Kawazma was arrested in Hebron. He was a senior member of Hamas's military wing in the West Bank in the 90s and was responsible for several terror attacks against Israel. He had eluded the IDF and basically disappeared in 1998 until he was seen again in 2010 when he was arrested by Palestinian security forces. He was then released about a week ago, and that is when the IDF began to plan their apprehension. There was no reported violence during his arrest. And turning back to the Israeli Prime Minister, aside from meeting with high-tech leaders and Jewish leaders in California, Netanyahu also took part in the premiere of a television program featuring Israel. The program is produced and hosted by CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg and part of Greenberg's Royal Tour show. The Israel Royal Tour segment has been in production for 2 years. It highlights tourist sites throughout the country, with the Prime Minister himself taking part and doing many of the introductions. Last night, Netanyahu attended the premiere of the show at Paramount Studios in Hollywood before 500 invited guests, whom he told this movie depicts beautiful Israel and the spirit of its citizens. He said this is the real face of the Jewish state. Also today, Netanyahu was in the San Francisco Bay Area to meet with Governor Jerry Brown on expanding cooperation between Israel and California particularly in the areas of water conservation, alternate energy, agriculture, and cyber security. Reacting to a recent report regarding the Palestinians' demand for a West Bank construction freeze, Israel's Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman said that Israel would reject any such conditions for the extension of peace talks. Lieberman made the statement today following a report yesterday that we told you about that claimed that PA President Abbas said that only with a settlement freeze and the release of more Palestinian prisoners by Israel would the Palestinians agree to an extension of negotiations with Israel. Speaking at a meeting in Tel Aviv of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants in Israel, Lieberman said today that there will be no conditions. We are willing to listen and to talk, he said, but we will not accept conditions. Those who want to set conditions should look for other partners. President Abbas is set to meet with U.S. President Barack Obama on March the 17th at the White House to discuss the framework deal being worked on by Secretary of State John Kerry that would extend talks with Israel beyond the deadline, which is coming up at the end of April. The Jewish Week reports that the Schusterman Family Foundation is doing its part to draw attention to Israel's efforts to reach the moon. Space IL is Israel's team in the Google Lunar Prize Challenge that will award $30 million to the first team to land a spacecraft on the moon and send back images by the end of next year. To encourage these efforts, Schusterman Foundation, which helps young people create positive change in the Jewish community and beyond, is working together with Games for Change, a nonprofit focused on social impact games that serve as humanitarian and educational tools. Together, they are offering $25,000 for the best design of an interactive simulation of the lunar mission. It's called the Game Design Challenge, and it's taking entries through March the 14th from individuals between the ages of 15 and 25. Co-founder of Space IL, Kfir Damari, said the design contest would be of great help. He told the Jewish Week first it contributes to Space IL's educational vision to inspire the next generation and promote STEM education, which is instruction in science, technology, engineering, and math, by offering a fun, practical way to learn more about space exploration. He added that Space IL can also use the data collected from the game to optimize their landing strategy in the actual mission. Contest finalists will present their ideas at the annual Games for Change Festival at NYU's Skirball Center in New York City next month. The University of Colorado Boulder is the new home of the world's largest privately owned Holocaust archive. The Mazel Holocaust collection is considered the most significant U.S. collection outside of the Holocaust museums in New York and Washington, D.C. It comprises more than 20,000 books and 500,000 documents, photographs, and other materials, including original transcripts of the Nuremberg trials. The university announced the donation of the extensive archive yesterday. It was collected by Harry Mazel, a retired businessman from Mexico City, who became an internationally recognized Holocaust collector and researcher. Mazel dedicated his life to defending the memories of the Holocaust and fighting against anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial, passed away in 2011. Noted Holocaust scholar and historian Emory University professor Deborah Lipstadt said the collection will help make the Boulder University one of the premier Holocaust research hubs, not only serving students but researchers from across the globe. Mazel's daughter Amy Mazel Skillen said the collection was her father's heart and soul. She said the fact that CU has the resources to make these archives available to students and scholars alike promotes education of the Holocaust. She said, "We have no doubt that Harry is smiling from above and are grateful that his collection will live on and continue to educate." And turning to our Shalom TV programming for tonight, Wednesday, March the 5th, at 8 o'clock, President of Klal, Rabbi Erwin Kula, and author Douglas Rushkoff ask, "Whose Torah is it?" from the Jewish Futures Conference. And then at 9 o'clock tonight, Israeli journalist, lecturer, and media personality Yishai Fleischer joins Mark Golub on L'chaim to talk about the BDS, or Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement, and to talk about the importance and beauty of the flourishing State of Israel. That's tonight on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Wednesday, March the 5th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.